welcome you back to the plenary session for our next live discussion and session on supply chain optimization from cost to value. I'd once again like to request all our delegates to please fill in the summit feedback form, because that's how our team knows what you think about the various sessions that we've put together for you and what you think of our virtual experience. I'd also like to invite all of you to visit TVS team. All you've got to do is go towards the exhibition area and visit their booth, and I'm sure the team will be happy to connect with you. For now, let me present to you Mr. Girija Shankar, Chief Sales and Solutions Officer, TVS Supply Chain Solutions. Welcome, sir, and looking forward to know more about supply chain optimization from you.
Thank you, Isha. Thank you for inviting me. And actually a privilege to be here and looking at this session virtually, fairly well organized. So I must compliment you guys. What I intend to do over next 10 odd minutes is to help reshape the narrative. We've been talking about post-COVID supply chains in variety of forums and discussions in a while. And I see that the conversations around how do we get started, how do we reimagine and things like that. But we also have to look at it, what are the systematic changes and alignment that are happening, which supply chain managers, the CFOs, the CEOs have to look at, and how we could start looking at supply chain, not just as a cost center, as a place where we have to optimize alone, but as a value enabler and what could be done over there. So I'll probably present a couple of chartware all right. So when we look at supply chain, I mean, we tend to look at it as a place where we have to drive down costs, which obviously is critical. But we have been looking at organizations and trying to talk to a variety of leading companies. And one of the conclusions we've come to is that there is more to it than just looking at cost, which is what the title of my session today is moving from cost to value. What's happening in the market, and this is across industries, this is true, whether it is consumer industries, metals, mining, automotive, the business needs and the operative environments are sandwiching or squeezing the supply chain environment in a manner which is becoming increasingly difficult and difficult to operate and drive efficiency. Right? Obviously, your lead times are going down. Your SKUs are proliferating. The number of SKUs have gone up significantly over the last 5 years if you look at any consumer kind of organizations. There is obviously a fair degree of variability in the way product mixes are changing. The typical product cycle, which used to be, let's say, 3 years for automotive client, is now down to 18 months. And therefore, there's an implication around how do we manage the supply chains, both for the FG as well as the spares and the aftermarket. Right? You look at the operative environment, and particularly in current times, one of the biggest issues that organizations are facing is availability of drivers, because people have gone back home and things like that. Right? And not just right now, but otherwise, we do see a fair degree of volatility coming in the way a supply chain manager is supposed to run his business, but the way the market tends to operate. And this creates both cost as well as commitment challenges. So if something has to be delivered to a client on the same day, there are challenges to make it happen because the operative environment tend not to be stable. Right? What it leads to, obviously, is that there is more demand on supply chain department. And how do we, therefore, tackle it? So on one side, that's kind of is happening is there's a huge amount of challenges coming in. As an example, if you look at it, just in last 5 years, the number of days between order to delivery in FMCG industries have gone down by 4 days. Right? This is a substantial change. As a percentage, it's actually almost 75% decline, right? Because obviously there is increased competition. Fair degree of automation has happened at the Salesforce level, and organizations are now saying, okay, I want the delivery next day, or at the very best, in 48 hours, which hitherto was not even thinkable, and people are doing it, right? So that's on the market side, right? Those kind of changes are coming in. Weekly volatility is changing for a lot of organizations, because the weekly skew, which what we used to see 5 years ago, is not the weekly skew anymore, and therefore the ramp up in the month becomes a significant challenge. And at the same time, we see a fair degree of variability. For example, there is estimated that about 2 lakh trucks shortage is there in India currently. And this is when none of the commercial vehicle OEMs are seeing sales, because obviously there is an operative environment issue. So it's a very dichotomous kind of situation where on one side there is an increase in the freight rate, on the other side vehicles are not available, drivers are not available, and people are struggling to make good on their commitments. What happens is most organizations would want to make sure that these issues don't hinder their day-to-day work, don't disrupt their business, and don't put spanners in their growth stories. But on ground, when we look at different companies, and these are companies across variety of maturities, companies that are 50-year-old, organizations that are 2-year-old, 500 crore company to a 10,000 crore company, we see some patterns around how efficient and non-efficient. I'll talk a little bit about what the outcomes look like. But we see 3 or 4 key patterns in how organizations tend to manifest in their supply chain, which results in problem. One of the key thing is the supply chain strategy tend to lag behind corporate strategy. A little bit of a lag is obviously expected and realistic also, but we see organizations where we're sitting with the supply chain that is a decade old while the business has completely moved on. And obviously that has implications on any of the market commitment that organization has to make. The other issue we see is a very significant verticalization that has to happen within the departments, within planning function, for example, versus the supply chain function. Right? These two are almost like the two sides of a coin, but many of the organizations we talk to, there is not adequate amount of collaboration and alignment. And within the supply chain also, the inbound logistics team could be separate from an outbound logistics team, the warehousing team could be separate from a transportation team, and so on and so forth. Followed with that, what we've seen also is a lot of organizations have done extremely good work in enabling their supply chain with digital analytics, creating the right kind of capabilities, the platforms that they require to take the right decisions and do things faster. However, many organizations have lagged behind, and those that have lagged behind see the results not just in their cost of operation. That's the lesser of the problem. They see results in their market penetration, their customer service. They see results in their revenue, and so on and so forth. And also, what we see is a lot of organizations have stayed at level 2 or level 3 in terms of their process maturity, haven't quite matured. And execution tends to always lag behind the intent, largely because organizations tend to try to do things with, let's say, CFAs or someone who is not quite a subject expert in how supply chain needs to be orchestrated. So all these things put together create a certain degree of constraints. But we believe that when you are around, you're able to create a significant value, not just in the function in supply chain, but across the board. For example, more efficient organization that we see actually optimize through supply chain, not just the supply chain costs, but also other costs, particularly the way, for example, the inventory is held up in different parts of the organization. You could use a degree of data-driven decision-making, which can enable you to drive much more value than just taking a cost reduction on warehousing or reducing the trucking rate by 2% or 4%. In fact, we've seen with a lot of organizations, the sustenance itself becomes a factor. In fact, based on a study we saw, almost 50% of business failure could directly or indirectly be linked to supply chain issues. Similarly, organizations that are able to do well are the ones who relook at the supply chain's core design frequently rather than in an infrequent manner. Particularly in current time, when we are seeing almost overnight the channel mix of companies changing from X to Y, keeping a supply chain that is, let's say, 5 or more years old is actually very, very detrimental to the ability to be in the marketplace. And not just that, we see that organizations who do well, who are able to align supply chain, integrate the different functions, build a tech layer, are actually able to drive revenue uplift in a much more significant way than some of the other organizations who don't. right? And also, this is something that obviously cannot all be done, by the in-house teams. And leading organizations tend to partner where partnership is helpful for them. What it does is, it's actually, once you are able to take supply chain holistically, you're able to look at the different facets of improvements and optimizations together. For example, if we do the job well, we're able to seamlessly link the supplies, inbound supplies, to my consumption levels. And that allows us to manage the production line. If there is a production, if it's a trading organization, it allows us to manage the supply side well. And it also allows us to manage the logistics cost in a transparent manner, other than the skews and the variability that otherwise is seen is significantly diminished. The other thing that we've seen is organizations that spend time and energies in doing a holistic planning and looking at supply chain end-to-end, looking at data from their vendors, looking at data in the plant, looking at data in the primary, the secondary, and so on and so forth. They are able to not just optimize at one level, but optimize at multiple levels. And like I was saying earlier, it helps them drive down much larger value. For example, if you take 10% reduction in a logistics cost, which is, let's say, between 4 to 6% for any company, it's a 0.4% or 0.5% improvement in bottom line. And most of the audience will know that a 10% reduction is a very, very hard thing to do. But another 40% is sitting in probably locked up inventory that could be reduced by 5% or 10%. And that could generate far more leverage and value for the company than just the logistics cost. So how do we make sure that we look at both ends? How do we look at we not only pluck those low-hanging fruits, but also look at those big value adds? That's where the value. So organizations that actually look at these things holistically tend to do well. And in our experience, bringing in, for example, an efficient demand forecasting model and looking at which SKUs of mine actually are suitable for a forecasting model versus a replenishment model, those are able to create a supply chain value much more than what other organizations may be able to do, right? And we believe that digital obviously is going to play a much more significant role as we go along. And there's a chart I will show in the end how digital is going to create a value. But this obviously has to be led with the integrated digital platforms. Just to kind of also highlight few specific areas, and this is a study we did where we looked at the criticality scores across different facets of supply chain, and we found that 3 things stood out more than others. Demand management, ability to forecast, plan is extremely, extremely critical. Mature organizations understand it. Ability to manage inventory, and not just the FG inventory, but across the supply chain. And looking at customer service, seeing how we can be more agile, more able to reach out to customer faster, that becomes a key factor as well, compared to some of the transactional activities that some of the organizations tend to focus on. And when you do that well, what we believe is that as we go along, this will become increasingly digitalized kind of supply chain, which will basically take data from multiple sources. And this is a great thing that has happened in the last couple of years, where we have an ability to integrate data across multiple touch points and the parts of the value chain in an organization, whether it is in the manufacturing side of it at one end or the POS at the other end, and make sense of it and take decisions basis them. This is something that leading organizations that we talk to are trying to do and enable it so that their supply chain becomes not just leaner, but actually more efficient. And that efficiency gets generate value in other parts of the business, whether it is in the marketing function, or it is in the sales function, or it is in the, let's say, the production floor and so on and so forth. Given the paucity of time, I will pause here and happy to take any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I'd like to thank Mr. Shankar for joining in. And once again, all those of our delegates who'd like to meet and connect with the TVS Supply Chain Solutions are welcome to join them at their booth. Thank you so very much, sir. I'm afraid we're out of time for questions for now.
All right. Thank you.